All right, now, in another case of misinformation warfare, it seems that evidence is mounting that indeed the Gaza-based terror group Hamas likely had nothing to do with the bomb threat against a passenger flight over Belarus. Chana Rifkin with the details.
International condemnations from across the world coming in against Belarus this week after government officials in Minsk allegedly used the name of the Hamas terror group in Gaza as a smokescreen to arrest a journalist and his partner. Officials and leaders, including from the United States, France, Germany, the UK, EU, NATO, and the UN, all either threatening or already imposing both economic and individual sanctions against Belarus and Belarusian citizens. And this including widespread international flight restrictions already enforced by most neighboring countries. Likewise, global authorities calling for an in-depth investigation into the incident, as well as the immediate release of the prisoners.
The forced landing of a passenger flight by Belarus was dangerous and unacceptable. This is a state hijacking and demonstrates how the regime in Minsk attacks basic democratic rights and cracks down on freedom of expression and independent media. I welcome the additional measures agreed by the European Union. There must be an urgent international investigation, and journalist Roman Protasevich and his companion Sofia Sapega must be immediately released.
Was Lukaschenko getan hat, ist an Niedertracht kaum zu überbieten. Hier wurde das Leben von mehr als 170 Passagieren gefährdet, um einen Journalisten zu verhaften. Das ist ein dreifacher Angriff, ein Angriff auf die Sicherheit des Luftverkehrs, die Pressefreiheit und auf die europäischen Bürgerinnen und Bürger an Bord. Und es ist eine Grenzüberschreitung, die die internationale Gemeinschaft nicht durchgehen lassen kann. Jedem Diktator, der mit dererlei Gedanken spielt, der muss klargemacht werden, dass es dafür einen bitteren Preis zu zahlen gibt. Und deshalb ist es wichtig, dass die EU schnell und hart reagiert hat.
The original incident began with an emergency report by Belarusian authorities that Hamas had threatened to blow up a plane on its way to Vilnius unless Belarus recanted its support for Israel and helped impose a ceasefire with Gaza. But the alleged threat came days after a ceasefire had already ended the 11 days of fighting between Israel and Hamas. Further, Hamas denies any and all involvement in the threat. There was no bomb, and the moment the plane landed at its redirected destination, Minsk, Protasevich and Sapega were detained. The 26-year-old Roman Protasevich is an activist, journalist, and popular critic of authoritarian Belarusian President Lukashenko. The 23-year-old Russian national, Sapega, meanwhile, is a student who, at the time of her detention, was on her way to university in Lithuania, where she was set to defend her master's thesis before graduation. Their two statements, released from detention by pro-Lukashenko media, assumed to be given under duress.